All right, so solving quadratic equations by using the quadratic formula. So this is going to use our ax squared plus bx plus c. So we all know that this is our form for quadratics, okay? So if we ever want to solve it, instead of being equal to y, what number is it equal to? Number 0. So whenever we want to solve anything, that means we're going to have it 0 equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So if we have this in the quadratic, we already know we can solve it by completing the square. We can solve it by graphing. And today we're going to learn how to solve it by using the quadratic formula. So here is the quadratic formula, and then you are going to learn a way to memorize it. So it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I'm going to let you get that down, and then we are going to learn a way how we can get this memorized. So the best way really to remember this is by a song. All right, it goes to, well, tough. It's, see if you can name the tune when I get done. It's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. What would be your a, what would be your b, and what would be your c?
Your a would be 3x squared.
Your a would be
3x.
just 3, just the number. Your b would be just
4.
and your c would be just, okay? So that's how that's going to work. Just like how when we looked at our a, b, and c, when we graphed it to find our negative b over 2a, we just look at the numbers. All right, so we're going to do a couple problems like this where we are going to solve it using our quadratic formula. So, first one, 2x squared minus 3x minus 7 equals 0. We want to solve it using our quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
So we just put in the numbers for the... Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We just plug in the numbers for the variables in that equation.
Is that recorded?
Yeah. Yes.
When you do the 4AC,
Yeah.
would that, like, the one you did before and the other three, would that be like 430?
No, it'd be 4 times 3 times, yeah. They're multiplied together. Yes.
Wouldn't B be like negative 3 and C be negative, or it's just...
Yes, very good. So the b in this case would be a negative 3 because we want to keep the sign attached to the number.
Wait, so would you want it to be positive in the square root?
When we square it, it would turn positive.
Okay.
Okay, so are we ready to try this out?
Can you put the square in with the 3? Like, in the square root?
Yeah, when we're in our calculators, yeah, we'll type it in exactly how we see it. So what is our a here? Let's just write this part out. So a is what number? 2, and b is what number? Negative 3, and c is negative 7. So now we're just going to use our formula. When we see b, we will replace it with b. When we see a, we'll replace it with a. When we see c, we'll replace it with c. So we start off with negative b. But if b is already a negative 3, what does negative b become? Positive 3. So we have a positive 3 plus or minus the square root b squared. So we have negative 3 squared minus 4. What's our a? 2. And our c is negative 7.
What the?
And then all over 2 times our a is 2. Now, what does this plus and minus mean? And then we subtract it. So when we actually solve, we're going to do it 2 times. We can do a little simplifying first before we do that, though. Okay? So when we simplify it, we first want to just simplify what we see inside of this square root. So the very first thing you're going to do is using your calculator's assistance, if we're not very quick with our numbers. Using your calculator's assistance, you're going to type exactly this in here with no square root.
Oh, we're going to put it with no square root.
With no square root. So
with the square root, and I got negative 3.67. But I didn't add in the 2 parentheses. So.
Yep, that would be why. So you need to make sure you have all those parentheses in there. Okay? So in your calculators, your first step is just to do what's underneath the square root. So in this case, your first step should look like this. Negative 3 squared minus 4, and then parentheses 2, and then parentheses negative 7. And we want to figure out just what that number gives us. Okay, so let's simplify that. Squared, make sure it's negative 3 squared.
Yeah, I got that.
I got domain error.
That means you did something wrong. You shouldn't have a domain error when we are only doing this portion.
Yeah, I got domain error.
Exactly what you see.
Yeah, I typed in exactly that.
I put in
Yeah.
exactly what I see, and I got 67.
I got
Or
domain error.
65.
Okay, and once again, Cody, I said you did something wrong, so try it again. But you did. Okay.
Yeah, I got 65.
65 this time?
That's what I got. Too.
65.
I didn't put the negative. I got 56.
And you got 56. Did you put your negative 3 in parentheses, Chris?
I did negative
Christopher?
3 squared first, and then I went.
So you got a positive 9 here?
Yeah, and then I got 56.
And-
Positive 56 for negative 4, 2.
Good. So 9 plus 56 is? You're 65. So we get this to be 65. So now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify this down. So we have 2 here. We have a 3 plus the square root of 65 all over, what's 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. And then we have a 3 minus the square root of 65 all over 4. Now at this point in time, once when we get your 65, you can take the square root of that, and you can round that to the nearest 10th, just like we did for completing the square. So what's the square root of 65 rounded to the nearest 10th? 8.1. So when we do this, we want to make sure we take 3 plus 8.1 first, and then divide it by 4. And then do 3 minus 8.1 divided by 4, and let's see what 2 solutions we end up getting.
I'm lost now.
So, well, square root of 65 is really 8.1.
Yeah.
So now we need to simplify this. So in your calculators, you would say 3 plus 8.1, and then you're going to divide it by your 4 and see what we get.
8.1.
And divide by 4 equals 2.775.
So 2 point to the nearest 10th?
2.7 or 2.8.
2.8. Did you put 3 plus 8.1 in parentheses? Alex, did you do that? That would be why you did not get this.
Alright, I get them 3.
So that's 1.
8.1 divided by 4.
And then we do the same thing for the next one. 3 minus 8.1 and divide it by 4.
2.8.
The plus one is, now we have to do one for minus. So 3 minus 8.1 divided by 4 gives us what?
1.275, so 1.3.
Ooh, that can't, this should be a negative number here.
Oh,
Negative
I got
1.3.
Yeah.
All right. So our 2 answers, 2.8 and negative 1.3. You're all going to have different ways that you end up like to do this in the end. Okay? Ready for another example?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I'm just copying the answers down.
Okay. Oh, it's stuck? Good, it's stuck. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's okay, I'll keep singing this one to you until this one gets stuck in your head. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We're good? Ready for the next one? All right, we're going to the next one. Okay.
I'm thinking of the one the version my brother showed me.
On task, or you're leaving?
Oh. I hate it.
Second example. Let's see, negative 4x squared
4x squared
plus 2x
plus 2x
plus 3.
Plus 3.
plus 3
Plus 3.
plus 3
Plus 3.
You guys stop.
plus 3.
Alex, was that necessary? Don't say what, you know exactly what.
I was just saying that. So.
All right, our formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We need to know what our a is, what our b is, and what our c is. Yes?
A is negative 4, B is 2, and C is 3.
Yep, a is equal to negative 4, b is equal to 2, and c is equal to 3.
Is there like an easier way to do like everything together, like combine everything and do it?
We always have to do it in the two separate steps because we have that plus and minus in there, Jacob, so we need to do it in two separate steps. All right, so how are we going to put this together? So negative b.
Don't you gotta put the C up there in the parentheses too?
When we get to the part of the formula, we will. But right now we just have a, b, and c written out. So what would negative b be?
It'd be negative B.
Okay, so negative 2 plus or minus the square root. b squared, what would that one be? 2 squared minus 4 times, what's our a? Negative 4. And what's our c? 3. All over 2a. So 2 times negative 4.
Uh-oh.
What's the first thing that we are going to find?
The stuff without the square root.
The stuff without the square root. Maybe we need a name to call that stuff. There is actually a name for this stuff in here.
That would have been nice to know.
This name for this stuff is called the discriminant. So we can use that word to describe that stuff instead.
Okay.
So the actual name for it is called the discriminant.
I got 52.
You got 52. Anybody else get 52?
Yeah.
Yes? Anybody else get
Were
52?
we supposed to add in the 2 and
Good.
the 1 at the bottom?
Yeah, we'll do that in the next step. So we all got 52 for this. So negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 52 all over, well, what's 2 times negative 4? Negative 8. Okay? Do we know what the square root of 52 is?
Not yet.
Not yet. 7.2? Sounds reasonable. So how do we get our two solutions here?
You gotta have one plus and minus.
Yep. So we'll do negative 2 plus 7.2 and divide that by negative 8, and then do negative 2 minus 7.2 and divide that one by negative 8.
Yeah, that's good.
2 times negative 4. Right here we need to multiply our 2a together, so 2 times negative 4. Yep, we always want to make sure we either add them or subtract them first before we divide it. That's very important that we do that whole numerator first before we divide. So this will give us two solutions. Negative 1.1, was that for the first one then?
I got negative 2.8.
I got negative 0.56.
I'm going to agree with the negative 0.56 on this one.
What would we do wrong then?
Well, negative 2 plus 7.2, did you add those two together first in parentheses?
Yeah.
Because that would be 5.2. And then when we divide that by negative 8, we should get a negative number.
So you're not supposed to subtract the 8 at the outside, or?
That's divided by
Oh, that's what I did wrong then.
0.65. So to the nearest tenth, we'd say 0.7. Okay, because we'd want to round it.
So would you accept 0.65?
Yeah, I probably would. That's more specific than to the nearest tenth. All right, so then for the next one, let's do this one. Negative 2 minus 7.2, and then divide it by negative 8. Yes?
1.15.
Negative. Not
1.15, so to the nearest tenth would be what?
2.
1.2. This would be positive. We end up with two negative numbers.
Oh,
So when we divide two negative numbers, we always get a positive number.
Calculated wrong.
Your calculator.
I think you probably put a wrong thing in there.
I got a negative 1.225.
Did you divide by a negative 8?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Negative 8.
That's confusing.
You have to look at it. You have to look at it very carefully.
Got it.
Okay? Should we do one more? I think we should do one more because we need to.
Let us work on this in class instead of giving us assignment.
Well, you guys get a lot of class time to work on things.
You guys don't want to do it.
Okay, we're going to do one more, and this time I'm going to want you guys to try to solve this on your own, and then we'll see if we all get the same solutions or not.
All right, I gotta get my head in the game.
So third one, let's see here. Negative 5x squared plus 3x plus 10
All right.
equals 0.
Oh, All right.
X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Mr. Thompson might have a better voice than I do, but we will get it stuck in your head. Wonderful.
So would that be negative 1.2?
Excellent. Good. And now we do the same. So circle that one. And now remember we got this 14.5. So now we do negative 3 minus 14.5. Okay. We're going to go through this example quickly together. And I'm saying quickly because most of you have it done on your sheet right now. So here,
43.
so we got a to be negative 5, b to be 3, and c to be 10. So when we plug this into our formula, we have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times 10, all over 2 times negative 5. Okay? What number did you get here for the square root? 209. So negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 209 over 14.5. So that means we had a negative 3 plus our 14.5, and we divided that by negative 10. And we had a negative 3 minus 14.5, and we divided that by negative 10. I said we were going really quick because you all should have had it done already. So this first one, what did we get? Negative 1.2. And the second one, we ended up getting what? 1.8.
Oh, I get this now. I got it.
So you ended up getting those solutions?
I wasn't even there yet, but I get it now.
Okay.
See what you gotta do.
All right. So for tomorrow, you're just going to have a few of these problems to get done. Okay, and then tomorrow we'll be doing some more of this. So page 587, for tomorrow you need to have 16 through 21 completed and ready to be turned in.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get that done.
Not yet. I don't, from 16 through 21 they have it. Oh shoot, I thought I looked.
Was this what was on those last two problems on that worksheet?
You could have done it this way too. What do you think happens, you guys, if you get a number like this? You get a negative number, and what happens in your calculators when you try to take the square root of a negative number?
Error.
Error. What do you think that means? It's not possible. What's that called?
Oh, it's the
No solution?
No solution? What is that? We have a symbol for that, don't we? Right there. Okay, so remember,
Can you go back to the page?
yeah, I will. If you get something like this where you get that error, we can't take square roots of negatives. Okay? So if you get that, recall that's called no solution.
We just write no solution.
Certainly you can write no solution instead of writing out the symbol. Of course. All right.